Welcome back, data leaders, Python learners, and SQL learners to Insight Builder channel and the part 2 of optimizing your database with advanced DDL techniques. We had gone through the process of working with DDL queries in the Postgres database. DDL is data definition language queries in the Postgres database. And we started create tables, sequences, started working on constraints and create indexes. We had in the last part, if you are new to this video, if you have come to this playlist directly, if you visit my channel, you can look at the playlists. Under the playlist, if you visit SQL mastery playlist, you will see the videos that has been taken before in this particular series of SQL. If you look at this first 3 to 4 videos, you will be able to come to speed in getting your own Postgres database setup in Amazon EC2, AWS EC2 instance, and then connecting to it and sending the data from Kaggle notebooks. So you will see an additional activity that we do by pushing the data from Kaggle environment to AWS EC2 environment. After that, I have introduced the optimizing SQL database in the last part, that is part 1. Take a look at that, where we look at the basics of creating tables and working on, let us go back to the presentation, creating tables, columns, indexes, sequences, and constraints. So we have seen all these things. What we are going to do in this video is that additional activity of exploring the data. That is what we are going to see. And after we explore, we are going to join two tables together and try to create tables. Okay, so what is going to happen is that the process that one has to use to understand the data is also more important, apart from using the SQL queries. Okay, that will give you more insight into how to work with the data. That is the intention of this particular part 2 of the video. So we will go back, we'll be using all this commands that I have shared here. You can take this, take a look at the code also. The script will be shared to you in the GitHub repo. The link will be shared in the YouTube description at the bottom of this video. Now let us go to the Dbeaver tool. This is the Dbeaver tool, and this is the script that I was using in the earlier part 1 of it. Now what we are going to do is we are going to start exploring the listings table. Okay, so before we start exploring the listings table, let us first of all see what tables are available in our database. So how to do that? We can use this command. So the point is that we use information underscore schema.tables and we list the various tables in the database. So once we connect to the database, you will see an error right now. This is happening because this particular database I have not connected. I had recently shut down my EC2 instance and I have not yet changed the setup here. So what you guys have to do is you have to go back to the browser and then click on EC2, go to the EC2 instance console, ensure that the database is running. Database server is running. Okay, this is the server. You will have a different name, different IP address, different instances, everything. Okay, this instance I will not be anyway keeping it alive for a long time, so I am openly sharing it. The point here is that this particular IP address we need to copy. So copy this particular IP address, and then you have to get back to the tool. So getting back to the tool, and you have to visit this location, right click on this this particular window here, and you have to edit the connection. You have to click on edit connection. Once you edit connection, you will get this area. So paste the new updated DNS IP address here, and then test connection. So once you test connection, the testing has to pass. Okay, like this, the loading schema, everything will happen. You can see the changes happening here, and then it will say it is connected. After that only the database will go through. Yes, so I say this and then only it will go through, or else even if I execute the code, it will go in the loop. It will not provide any kind of reply to me. Okay, So ensure that you have done the process. I'm just showing it because you might have come to this from the directly here. So I saw that you see that here one of the query got timed out. So that is because of that only. So let me execute this again, and this time the query will revert back. And I see the various tables here that is available in our database. Okay, the point here is that I can go down here, click on this tree, and I can take the look at my tables. I can do that also. I can see all the tables here also, right? But why use this? The point, again, we are going to understand the database inside out. Okay, inside the when you are going to use this query and get the data from the database, you can do a lot more things rather than just seeing at this information in the GUI. So having this knowledge is also very important. Now we know that there are other tables, and we are going to work on listings table. So let us go down and let us start exploring the listings table. What happens in case of Dbeaver is Dbeaver provides a very intuitive and user-friendly IDE, the editor for database. So we start by using from. Usually in case of regular SQL writing, we start with select. In Dbeaver, we first start by telling which table we are going to query. In that, this is actually intuitive, right? You have to first know which table you want to query. Then we say, okay, on top of it, we say select, and we say, okay, I want to start querying. And in case of Dbeaver, what happens is we get the entire number of columns that is available inside the table as a pop-up, and you can use this pop-up to check which particular column you want. Okay, so in my case, I want the name, and whenever you get some double quotes around the column name, that means the name of the column is a SQL command name. So we have to SQL command or SQL variable function name. So change it. So give an alias and say prop name. Okay, prop. In case of the dataset we are working, it is AirBnB dataset. So we are talking about properties that is listed in AirBnB website. So that's why I'm giving prop name. Okay, and I say ID. ID is the listing ID, and I am going to get the host, the ID host ID of the listing, and also the host name. So I can get all these things from the table, and I'm going to limit as 5. Okay, so first exploration I am trying to understand, and I get all these names. Okay, now I am thinking, okay, how to use this particular data. Okay, let us further explore. So let me again do a from listing. When you have such a intuitive environment to work on, you can do how many ever queries you want, right? So here now I am going to check, okay, can I get some other types? Okay, here I see reviews per month. Okay, I see reviews per month, and also I see when was the last review posted, and availability, and what else is there? Room type is there, neighborhood group is there. Okay, so as of now, let me take the latitude and let me take the longitude and see how the data is. Okay, why this is important is that once you look at the data, you can get some clarity. So here we are seeing that the reviews per month is in float real type. REA real type means it is in decimal type, and we are also seeing the latitude and longitude, the location of the listing. So all this data we can collect. Let us take some other. We have been working on the existing table called as reviews listing, reviews detail. So in the last part, let us see whether we can connect these two. Okay, what we are going to do is we are going to try and connect the review detail and listings in one single query. So you will see the query here. Okay, so in this query, what we are doing is I'm using a common table expression, that is CTE here. So we're using the width, and I am doing all this activity, but you don't need to worry about what is going on. I am going to explain right now. So let me take this query. Whatever there in the CTE, I'm going to take out first. Okay, and I'm going to execute it with a limit. I'm not, this is very important. Whenever you take anything out of the city, ensure that you give a limit there. Okay, or else all the data will come out, and sometimes your server might hang. So I'm going to take this out, and I'm going to check it, what has happened here. This is how you also have to disintegrate the SQL queries you get and test it and understand how the data is getting transformed or projected. We can see right here that it is counting the rows, and it is also grouping it on based on the listing ID from the table reviews details. Okay, we have some fair idea by looking at the command query itself, and we are going to execute it right now, and we see that we are getting the review counts along with the listing ID. Okay, what is now this particular cell, this particular query is put inside the CTE, and then we are also linking. So whatever listing ID we are getting here, we are actually joining it here by using the CTE. We are creating the temp underscore review table, and then we are using that temp underscore review CTE as from. This is how CTEs work. So it is sometimes people, initially when I was learning CTE, it was very confusing that I'm declaring the table name here. This is actually a table name. This is a very temporary table name that we are declaring, and that table name we are again using here. Initially I was not able to understand this, how it is happening, but after considerable amount of practice, now I understand. Okay, so here we are creating a table that is temporary, but we are immediately attaching select command at the bottom, and then we are using it. So in this way we are able to manage the entire city. And this city is very, very important. In DB tool, the data build tool that is very famous currently for data integrity, data testing, etc., uses with CTE a lot. I mean, literally all of their SQL queries work on with CTEs only. Like the format that you are seeing here, that is how it works. So this with CTE is very, very important. Take a look at that, and I have a separate video where I explained the DB tool also. So if you go to my playlist, my channel, and look at this ecosystem view, mastering the Python ecosystem, there is a separate video on mastering the DB tool. So in this video you can see data modeling with DB tool, and here you can also understand how to initiate Postgres instance as a Docker. So this is also a very good video for if you are new to databases and if you are looking for a way to get access to a database. Okay, let us move to the Dbeaver again in a moment. So let me execute this query and let us see what is output. So once I execute this query, you see that it is giving me the ID, review count, the host ID, host name, prop name, etc. And I have already filtered that it has to give me only the not null values. So all this value which is getting returned should not have any kind of null value. All the values should be filled. This is what this filter is saying. Okay, let me change it and I will show you what it will happen. Let me say is or is null. Okay, I need to change it into or, then only it will work. Okay, if I execute this, you will see that I am getting now null values only. Okay, and it will be around some 30 rows will be there. Okay, so either what is happening is that either this column, host name column, or if the prop name column has any null values, then this particular query will return. That is what this query is doing. But when I am actually saying not, what I am saying is that why I am doing this, why I am actually putting and here is because you will see in couple of minutes I will explain that I will have to create a table where the constraint is both host name and the prop name should not be null, both. So this also should not be null and this also should not be null. So in that case I cannot use or, so I have to use and. So if this is null and if this is not null also, it should not work. Okay, now when I say it's not okay, let us see. Yeah, if I say this, then what will happen is if I query this, then I will get only those columns which are proper, which is having both hostname and prop name. Next is what is going to be interesting. The major point I wanted to highlight here is this is the same thing that I showed you. This is not required right now. So this is an example that I showed you just now. So that with is null and is or, right? I showed you there. I just copied it here. We are going to create a table. Okay, we are, instead of putting it each and every time querying the database, we are going to create a new table itself. And the new table will have all these constraints. So before we create the table, before we create this table, right, let me drop the table. If it is there, the table will drop, or else the query will be skipped. Even though the query is there at the top, I am going to type it again. Okay, this is how you have to also learn. The reason why I copied it there is to show you how to work on it. Okay, so listing reviews is the name of the table, and I am going to take each of the column right now. So prop ID is property ID, so short form of property ID, integer. I am making it as integer, and unique. It has to be unique. It cannot be repeating, and it should be the primary key. Primary key should be always unique. It cannot be repeating. If it is repeating, then it cannot be a primary key. Prop name. So prop name is varchar, variable character, and it can be of any length. I am not mentioning the length, and it should not be null. As I told you here, the prop name cannot be null. This name cannot be null. This prop name, you see this? Then I am also telling that host ID int not null. I am enforcing these constraints on the table. Why I am enforcing these constraints? So that the data that comes in has the proper integrity. That is the point of creating this constraints. And reviews count is int and default to 0. So this is the table that I am creating. So I will be removing this right now because it's not required. What is happening here? So I will execute this. Okay, the table will get created. You see the table got created, and next is we are going to check the constraints. So you can use this query directly. If you execute this query, you will see the various constraints that is on the table listing underscore reviews by using this. So this is a direct select, guys. Next is going to be interesting. Okay, here first of all I am going to remove this. I am going to remove this filtering. Okay, this is going to filter all the null values, but I am going to right now remove this. Okay, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to execute this. So what I'm doing here, I'm taking the if you go up, there is prop ID, prop name, host ID, host name, review count. So I'm taking all these columns here. Okay, and I am telling to database server that insert data into this table listing underscore review by getting the data from this command. Okay, so what will this command give me? This command will give me all this data, right? So I am taking this and attaching it with insert, and I am telling whatever output comes from this, push it into listings review. How intuitive it is, huh? Let us execute and let us see what happens. I am actually getting an error. What is the error? Let us check it. And you see that the prop name of relation listing review violates not null constraint. So this is what I was telling. The purpose of having the purpose of having the constraint is that when the data that is coming from outside is not matching. So this data was coming from outside, correct? This particular query, the data was coming from outside, and it was not matching the constraint that we have kept, this constraint that we have kept. So the database server should not allow, and it exactly did that. Now what I am doing, I am actually filtering. I am telling that let us filter, don't give any not null value, or don't give any host name null value also, don't give me any of those. So now when I execute this, what will happen is the command will execute and the rows got inserted here. You can check it out. So if I, for an example, if I say from listing details. So listing details is what, sorry, listing reviews, wrong. Listing reviews, LR, select. So you'll see that star limit 5. So you will see the same data has been written to the database. So we have got all the data and we have the correct name and column, etc. And you will not have any null values also. So if you want to check that, we can again do the from listing reviews LR. I say select star, where let us take host name, where host name, the reason why it is not working is, yeah, if I use this host name is null. Okay, I'm asking that give me any row that is null. Okay, if I execute, there will be no row with host name as null. And same way, if I try the prop name, same way, if I try prop name, prop underscore name, you will also see that there is null value. This is how you check. Once you create any table, you need to also check what is actually inside the table. And how will you check it? By using filter commands, by using the limit commands, and also by using offset commands. All these commands I explained in the DML. These are all DMLs. DMLs means data manipulation language. All these are inserting is also data manipulation only. The creating table, this is actually data definition language, because it is defining the data. You see, it is defining the data type of the column, it is defining the constraint that is going on to the column, and it is telling what are the columns that is available in this table. And then it is also sharing, by defining all these things, it is sharing the constraints to the developer. All these things this particular code is doing. That is why it is called as data definition language. With that, guys, we have seen in this video, we have seen not only how to create the tables, we have seen how to explore the various tables available in the database. You can explore as much as you want, because in Dbeaver it's so simple, right? So for an example, there is a very big column, there is a table with lots of columns, almost 90 columns in this database. So let me show you. It is called as listing reviews. Okay, and in this table it has almost 90 columns. If you have seen the earlier video, you know this LR dot wait a minute, okay, that is it's not listing reviews that we created right now, listing details. This is listing details, and if you go here and you see, by checking at the number of columns that is coming, I can find out that okay, I am using wrong table. You see this number of columns here. So there are so many columns, and how will you even think about exploring this? It's very simple. All you need to do is you can have a strategy. Okay, so this column right now, which is listed here, is having no any kind of alphabetical order. So but you can follow an alphabetical order. If you type A, it will give you all the column names with A. So you take access. Okay, you are not worried about what you don't know, right? You are exploring the data. So you are taking ID and you are further going and say accommodates. You want to see what is there in the data, right? And you want to say, okay, is there anything in B? Okay, there is bathrooms, bedrooms, beds, bed types. Okay, let us see bed type. Let us then say B, C. What is there in C? City is there. That is interesting. And what else is there? Country code is there. Then further, what else is there? Let us see D. D, description is there. Security deposit, description is interesting. And let us see what is there in E. Experiences offered or extra people. That is interesting. And then F, first review, square feet, cleaning fee. Cleaning fee is interesting. Like this, you can start working on it, guests included. You can, like this, you can slowly, steadily work on all the columns, and you can explore it. Just a minute, the error here is, yeah, you have to give a space. So once you can see all the columns that you have seen above. Like this, you can explore the entire columns. When there is a lot of columns available, you can explore it step by step also. This is how you speed up your exploration. And this is how I, for that matter, came up with various tables that I can showcase to you guys. Because it takes lots of research, right? And you have a lot of data available with you. How to research them is also important. And this is one of the ways, and Dbeaver is an excellent tool for that very purpose, to search the data that is available with you, and in a very intuitive and a very interesting way. I hope that you guys like this tool as well as the content. The point of this is to ensure that you can practice the SQL skill. That is the reason why I introduced Dbeaver. Also, the entire playlist is based on that. So if you guys do like the video, do leave a like and share this video. Subscribe to my channel so that you will get further updates on the new video uploads. The most important point is that you practice. So next video will involve data modeling the database. So what I will be doing in the next video is that I'll be taking all these tables, and I will be creating fact and dimension tables out of these tables. It's a very interesting set of videos. I think it will be, most probably it will be 2 videos. Let me see how it comes out, but stay tuned for that, guys. And the next step is that only one step is there, that you start practicing, because the data modeling video that is going to come will require your utmost understanding of the DDL commands. Your DDL commands, especially the understanding of these constraints, and primary and foreign key, I will explain it in that video, how that constraint works. It's pretty interesting to understand how primary key and foreign key works in a directly in the database, in the data set that you have in your hand. And when you practice it, right, once you start practicing it and pushing the data into it, when primary key and foreign key are there, you can actually visualize the things happening, how the data is moving. So that is a phenomenal experience. I would like to share that experience with you guys also in the next video. And also one more important point I wanted to highlight in Dbeaver is that you can take a look at the data model, the schema diagram also. If you come to this area, and if you click on tables, it is called as ER diagram in Dbeaver, entity relationship diagram. You can click on this view diagram. If you click on view diagram, it will show all the tables in form of entity relation like this. It will populate in a moment. It is getting the data from the database, so it will take a second. Just give me a moment. Yeah, it has got populated right now, and you see all the tables that is here. It is available here also. So what and all tables we created, that is also updated here. And this is the listings review, and this table I had removed, so that's why I am moving it out. A neighborhood listing detail. So this is a very long table, so 90 column table I told you, right? So that also it populates, and you can see the other tables also here. And these much long table, how you manipulate? So you have to understand that. You see the calendar table here, you see the listing review table. This calendar table has almost 7 million rows. Can you believe it? This looks very small, but it has 7 million rows in this inside this table. And that is what I want to. In the next video, I will show all these tables connecting to each other. In this table, in this video, nothing is connecting. It is all separate, right? In next video, we will see how to connect it without you doing anything. You will understand the data modeling from a very different perspective. So stay tuned for that, because once you understand data modeling this way, right, you will never use pen and paper, guys. Okay, you should never use pen and paper to do data modeling. Okay, so let us get back and start working on you practicing. Okay, practice all this commands that is already provided. You have the data set, you have your own database right now, and what are you waiting for? Just push for it and get the things done. And in the meantime, do subscribe for my videos and like my videos. Till the next video, guys, practice, 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 practice. See you.